Hello all and welcome to another video in my journey to 1 million gamer score, and with the first half of June now in the history books, it's time for June part 1. So at the end of my last video I did say that I'd be making a push to reach the 400k mark. That is exactly what I'm trying to do. However, despite making a sizable chunk towards that milestone, it's not as much as I would have liked, but it's still enough to be potentially able to do it by the end of the month. I'm either just going to do it, I think, or I'm just going to fall just short. So stay tuned for that and see how I get on in June part 2 when that comes round. So let's crack on with the games and show you what I got in June part 1. And if you've seen these videos before, you will know I like to do it in chronological order. You'll also know I do like to start these generally with a completion at the beginning of the month. However, Beach Buggy Racing is sat there because I returned to that first to just carry on with getting some achievements out of this. However, my save data had been lost to a degree. I should have had all the stars halfway through World 2. However, I had all the stars in World 1 and about to take on the boss. So I should have returned to this and played a bit more, and then obviously a completion at the beginning of the month. However, here we are with Beach Buggy Racing and another 20g added. That was basically because in the first race of World 1 I could hit 100 seagulls and get the 10g achievement for doing that. I also learnt that to get win a race with a chicken on your face achievement, I could simply just put it into 2-player mode, split screen, no computer AI, get the power up that I needed, drop it just before the finish line, reverse up, drive through the crate of chickens, have one on my screen, win the race and get that little 10g achievement. So I just grabbed a little 20g achievement out of that, and I've just lost the heart to return to it because it takes a lot of time with obviously the luck-based elements of these Mario Kart style races, you know, as regards to getting power-ups, being hit by power-ups and so on. You'll all know what I mean if you play kart racing games. So I did add a little 20g to it, and I haven't had the heart to return to it just yet, but I will do at some point. There's more I can get out of this, so I can get more out of it, so I will return to it at some point. But let's crack on with the first completion of the month, and I was inspired to play this by the fact that it got added to the Windows Store. They caught up with this one, and it is ACA Neo Geo League Bowling. Now this will take a lot of time to start with. Like, I was really pleased that they added it to the Windows Store and I decided to stack it at the same time so I could take what I learned into stacking it, because I probably spent around about 4 hours first time round getting the timing right in learning how to get a strike and so on. Basically I did go for the centre of the lane approach and bowling at full power, and learning to sort of adjust a little bit to the left or to the right and learn how to get a strike, or get my strike probability higher, shall we say. So you'll take a lot of time into doing that, and then the score margins for this are all the same when it comes to the top marker. Top marker is 2,000 points. You can only get 2,000 points by playing the flash mode, so bear that in mind. It's not too bad in original mode, because obviously if you have to get 2,000 points out of what is 10 turns, you need to get at least 200 points per turn. In original mode you can create interrupt save data, so if you get 200 points out of a bowl, great. Create interrupt save data. Then if you don't get 200 points, you can just reload up your save and have another go. However, in high score mode and caravan mode, you need to do it all in one hit with no saving or anything like that. The function is not available. So in flash mode you have this little marker that goes across backwards and forwards with the middle marker. If the ball connects with the pins at the time that middle marker is lit, you'll get 300 points for a strike or 200 points for a spare. I spent ages learning my timing as to when to bowl and let go with all the markers that I'd learned into probably getting a strike, and for that marker to then be in the middle. It wasn't easy, but I got there in the end. I learned out there's like 5 little markers, obviously the middle score being the high one you want to aim for. As it goes away from the middle, second to the end, I learned if I let go of the ball there, when it hit the end and came back, by the time it returned to the middle and hit the first pin, it would stay there and I'd get the points for that. Obviously you need to get a strike to get 300, which is more than you require, but if you get a spare, so if you bowl again, you can only score from the bottom line. The spare is 200 for that middle section. You will then need to hit that middle section when going for the spare to get 200 points, and of course you need to do that 10 times in a row, so it takes a lot of time, patience and learning if you want to get the 4,000 out of this. So I can't tag it with an easy completion, but it's certainly very doable. I mean, I've done it, and you know, I always said that my skill level as a gamer isn't going to be world record breaking or me one day being E-leagues, but at the same time, you know, I'm fairly decent in some areas. I was able to get this done with a lot of time, patience, practice, and yes, there was some frustration in there. The amount of times I would have got to 8 goes and I would mess up the 9th one, or I'd be left with a 7-10 split or something, and I wouldn't be able to pick up the spare even if I really tried. But yeah, persevere, get your learning done if you really want to go for this one. But at the same time, I did have a lot of fun doing it. It was quite enjoyable to play at the same time, so at least there was that. Okay, I'm not going to harp on about this one. This has popped up in the last couple of videos now. I've done a little bit more grinding towards my rep level 70, but the fact it's so far down the list means I have stopped doing that for 2 weeks or so. It will happen one day, people. One more achievement, and then you won't see this game in these videos again. Right, Metal Slug 2, another ACO Neo Geo title. This was actually sitting on 640 with regards to Xbox One. I then got back into learning the first level and going through it again and again and again, and eventually, once you learn the first level, do not die, rescue all 10 hostages. I say do not die because if you die, the hostage bonus goes that you've amassed. So do not die, collect all 10 hostages, finish in your vehicle as well. You get a bonus for that. You pick up a vehicle halfway through, then you'll get nearly 600k out of the first level alone, and that will get you to the top bracket in caravan mode. It will not get you to the top bracket in high score mode. You will need to do some serious progression towards that. That is the one I'm missing in that. But I was able to get original mode, which I was missing as well. I missed the top bracket in original mode, but with me doing another perfect run on the first level, I was able to get that well in time before the end. I don't know why I didn't before. Maybe I cruised through it too easily. But the first 10 hostages out of the first level, there are 2 hidden up a tree, sort of nearest the beginning, which I wasn't getting. And when I eventually found them, more by luck than judgment, that really, really helped, because obviously getting the bonus for all 10 hostages and not dying was a real help. So I got that up to 900, and for me 900 was a sizable enough chunk to actually stack it, so I did. So I stacked it on my Windows 10 with what I'd learnt from that first level still fresh in my mind. But as 1000, that high score mode one is going to hold a lot of people back. But if you're willing to put some decent time into learning the first level, you'll get 900 out of this in a couple of hours. 2 to 3 hour bracket, should I say, really. Okay, cracking on with a little bit more Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Added another 100 to this. I did eventually get my character to level 50 within a certain mode. However, I didn't get through the last 10 rounds of that mode, which would have been another achievement. I also did a certain thing 100 times, which is cumulative. You'll get eventually through playing. Also, I got the achievement for training for half an hour, which cannot be boosted by just putting your controller there for half an hour and making a cup of coffee and all that sort of stuff. You can't just sit with it next to you and smash buttons while you're standing still. You have to move, you have to press buttons continuously for half an hour for that little 10G achievement to unlock. But because I could get it, I had to do it. So I'm not going to let an achievement I can get go by, even though it's going to cost me half an hour to get a 10G achievement. Half an hour in some indie games on the Xbox One store, you can get the full 1000G. But that is the achievement hunter within me. Some of them I will not be beaten by, and that one was just sitting there, had to be got. Okay, Afro Samurai was a disappointment. I had been looking forward to playing this. It's a hack and slash game. It's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. It looked a lot of fun, but sadly it was too samey, and it just wasn't that much fun. It was the button mapping was a little bit off as well. The controls was not smooth. The camera angles are annoying. But the achievements I got, I finished the tutorial world. I finished one world, maybe finished 2 worlds. I killed a certain amount of enemies as well. I think I killed 1,000, and also killed some in a certain way as well. And I locked 95G along the way. I probably will return to it at some point, but I'm finding the heart to return to this difficult, because it's just not as enjoyable as I thought. Maybe I overhyped it. Maybe I should give it another chance, but I'm just not enjoying it as much as I thought. That 95 though, come within a couple of hours play. I always say 360 stuff is generally slower and harder to get, so 95G I got in a couple of hours play. Sadly didn't enjoy it, but we'll return to it. Okay, above that is a game that was tagged as an easy completion by some websites and a lot of people. Super Space Serpent SE, which is secondary edition. It's a twin-stick shooter, and it is reasonably difficult, I would say. I mean, there are achievements for just playing 50 and 100 times, which I did do. I think I grinded out 100 before I moved off of it for a while. I mean, I will return to it at some point, but there are achievements for getting to and killing bosses number 3 and 4 and finishing the game, which I haven't done. But I've got a certain amount of achievements for getting so far. Probably a little bit of that is with skill, and a lot of it before that is you'll just get it anyway. So I spent a couple of hours with it, got 450 out of it, but I wouldn't tag it as easy, even though none of the achievements are rare. Some of them are floating around the 20% mark. But if you're good at twin stick shooters, then it probably will be easy. But for me, it was very challenging, and there's these horrible little pink enemies, and you'll notice in the background of the thumbnail that the background of the game is pink. So they were very blended in at times, and sometimes it got really difficult as well. You kind of have to learn how to gain health, because every hit is like 50%, and it gives you 100%. So it's nearly a one-hit insta-kill, and if the enemy sort of rolls through you, it can actually take both hits in one go. So not as easy as some websites advertise for me. You may find it easy, but in the hours to 2 hours worth of gameplay, I've got 450 out of it, so it's still a sizable chunk out of that game alone to be returned to at some point. Awesome P, classic platform. It looks like a Game Boy game, even sort of has it look like it's on an old TV with sort of the grainy image, and the corners are curved out to look like a TV with rounded corners basically. A lot of fun actually. I quite enjoyed this classic platformer. It's not too difficult. You will have to finish basically every level in the game and collect all the treasure as well as finish the level. The levels are reasonably short though, so it's not as taxing as it sounds. You may get stuck on some level for a while. I did in a couple of occasions, but generally with a bit of trial and error, a bit of patience. Awesome P, I would say, is probably a 2 to 3 hour completion. I did get stuck on a couple of levels, as I said already, so I was topping near the 3 hour mark, probably job done in a couple of sessions. I did it all in one hit. But yeah, I quite liked it. As I say, classic platforming with short levels that looks like a Game Boy game. I mean, yeah, a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed that one. So it's not too expensive either. So yeah, Awesome P, I'm going to tag as an easy-ish completion. Above that, Team Sonic Racing, I've had sort of 2 bouts of play this game during the month. All the achievements I got were just progressional. The 100 that I got in one session was for I did just manage to do certain random things during races using power-ups that you get. I think I finished the second world of the adventure mode. You get achievements for just finishing the adventure mode worlds. There are ones for getting every star in the adventure modes, but they're quite tough when it comes to the outside of racing challenges. The challenges can be hellishly difficult as I say, the ones that aren't actual just doing a race. So yeah, I got 100 out of it once, and then so I returned to it, got a little bit more out of it. But I'm enjoying my time with Team Sonic Racing. Still feel it could have been more. I know some people don't like it, but I'm enjoying it, and I will be returning to it at some point again. So yeah, just added just over 100, I would say. I don't think I got a lot second time round, but I got a couple more. Okay, above it, Microsoft Wordament. That is a game that has been frequently visiting on my mobile phone. It's I talked about it in depth at the end of January part 1, so if you want to check out that, if you want to know how to get a whole bunch of them easily, quite reasonably quickly, should I say, actually. But I'll basically just keep it up with the monthly challenges. Now, I actually forgot that I didn't do last month at all. I thought I did last month, I didn't do it at all, so I missed out there. What they have done is they've jacked up the difficulty, or just the time it's going to take to get the coins out of, or the medals or whatever they are, out of the monthly challenges now, because as well as there just being one mode and you have to get to gold by playing every day, there are 3 modes daily now. So, and with that they've jacked up the points margin you need to get to your medals, so that's a real shame. So that's going to take more. There are 2 achievements outside of the monthly challenges that I really should pull my finger out and get cracking on with. So I did get up to 10 worlds completed. There's an achievement for 12 worlds. I'm very short of getting to level 80 XP, which will unlock another achievement. So those 2 achievements should come very soon. I must get working on those when I'm at work and have got nothing to do, perhaps. So above Microsoft Wordament, we have a Rattle Like a Game special, Neon Junctions. Now, if you use a guide for this, you'll get it done in under an hour. It's a very unique game with cubes, and you have to put the cubes in certain places. You pick these cubes up from other places, and then they start adding elements in, like go through doors that could close behind you while you remove a cube from a certain place, so then you need to get it to another place, and just things like that. Very unique game, very enjoyable. I must admit, I could have probably done this without guides if I wanted to, but it would have taken me a lot longer. As I say, under an hour with a guide, but I did get stuck on a few levels, so I just used a guide to get me through those. So I spent a couple of hours with it. I did use Macca 91's guide only for any levels I got stuck on. There are a couple of other miscellaneous achievements in it, but you probably will die in trying to do it if you don't use a guide, but if not, just jump off the edge. And there are a couple of achievements for finishing a level with 49 cubes and amassing 99 cubes at some point. There is one level where you can get both of those, because the whole floor is nearly a sea of them that you can pick up. So over 100. So you can pick up a whole load, get to 99, put the cubes down you need, still have well over 49 and finish the level, and unlock those random achievements there. But generally as a rule, this one can be tagged as an easy completion, but with a guide. With a guide, under an hour. And the same sort of rules apply to Warlocks Towers. It's a Rattle Like games. It's another puzzle game where every move you take you lose a life. It was actually quite fun, and the difficulty curved dramatically. It became really difficult and really frustrating. So I used a guide once I got to a certain point to whiz through it. I've used a guide from the offset, probably 2 to 3 hours still, because it's quite lengthy. There are a couple. I think there are a couple of random achievements by you have to sort of talk to certain people within a level, and they're sort of in a certain corner of the map, and you need to talk to them to unlock an achievement, and then it'll make you start the level again to complete it. Otherwise you'll die before you get to the exit, so it basically makes you restart it. But with a guide, Warlocks Tower, 2 to 3 hours I would say. So Batman the Telltale series, I've already done this on the Xbox One, and I decided to do it on the Xbox 360 because everyone knows that Telltale's gone bust, and it looks like the stuff is now starting to disappear because people that are reporting that they are buying the Minecraft story mode and having difficulty downloading the episodes, even though they claim to be available till June the 25th, they're still having difficulties downloading the episodes. So I thought I'd jump on the sort of bandwagon of worrying about all their games disappearing and buying the Batman game for probably too much, because I know each episode, Telltale rules apply. As I say, each episode's a couple of hours long. There are 5 of them, so 10 hours is your rough completion time, probably a bit less if you're not too invested in the story mode and can get past the very small unchallenging games that it throws up, which is basically just connecting lines between 2 areas of a crime scene that match, sort of thing. So yeah, 8 to 10 hours probably is where you're going to put Batman the Telltale series on. To say, I panic bought it. I don't know how much longer it's going to be there with the Telltale games. It's worth noting that at the moment, if you have Game Pass, the Walking Dead games are all in there at the moment, so perhaps play those if you have Game Pass. It's also a great time to pick up Game Pass at the moment, with it being E3 season and the announcement of the Ultimate Pass thing, where it includes your Xbox Live, the 2 combined, for a real cheap trial. You know, if you haven't invested in Game Pass, you just apply for that for a month so you can get those 4 games done, I would say. So, ladies and gentlemen, talking about Game Pass, that brings me on to the last game on the list above this one, which is River Bonds. And River Bond is graphically looks like it does in the thumbnail there. They sort of have a Minecraft appearance to them, the characters, and there are sort of 8 worlds. You don't have to beat a world to get to the next world. You can actually just start any world you want, and there's an actual achievement for starting every world. So if you don't want to play the game but you just want to nick a quick 100G out of it, literally just start every world and then just back out of it. But it's a fun game, and the advice that I would give to you on this is basically explore every nook and cranny of every world. Take your time first time round, because there are achievements for talking to certain people. If you look up ladders that are around the exit before you bail out of them and things like that, literally just explore every nook and cranny, take every turn, even if it doesn't lead towards the exit, and you'll amass these people. I didn't actually miss one in my first playthrough of every world. I did miss 3 out of 4 secret rooms. I was unaware of that. My bad for not looking at the achievement list properly. Achievement hunter, come on Rob, wake up. I did stumble across one of the secret rooms, and I did manage to get 34 stars. Stars are these big massive coins with a star symbol in the middle. Did actually get 34 stars. The top bracket on getting stars is 35, but if you just revisit a world, you can then pick up another one easy out of the first one. You know, it doesn't have to be in one run through. They do reappear. Same applies for the skins when you find them out of chests. If you don't get enough skins, I did get enough skins first time round. If you don't get enough skins, you can revisit levels and hope they pop up. So that's not too much of a problem as well. And then you'll get achievements for beating each boss. Ignore the clock. The clock is just a time bonus, the 5-minute clock. I realised that when it expired on the very last boss, and I thought I was going to run out of time to start again. It's just a time bonus. If you die, you just respawn and carry on. So it's just a matter of just playing through, really. The bosses can kill you, but you'll just respawn until you win. But you just won't get much time bonus. That's it. It's quite simple. It's not a bad game. It's quite fun. It's top down, obviously. It's at an angle. It's not top down, if you know what I mean. It's sort of at an angle, but it's not side on either. I hope that explains it. That was rather confusing. Sorry, people. But anyway, yeah, you pick up guns, pick up swords, you pick up different weapons to take on enemies like that. If you do die, you'll respawn to the nearest to the last start point you got to. If you go into a room, you'll stay in that room, you'll just respawn there. If you go out of that room and die, you'll respawn in front of that room. Anyway, I'm covering lots of different aspects about this game all in one go, but at the end of the day, this game was enjoyable. It didn't get boring at all, despite being reasonably repetitive. So anyway, easy completion, yes, but it'll take you probably 8 to 10 hours. You will expect to put some time into this one. I generally had my time with this as perceived as quite fun. So yep, struggling with words here, just as well we're at the end of the video, and that is the last game I need to talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching firstly, and next month, obviously, or the rest of this month should I say, I'm really going to push to that 400k mark. As I say, I've got a bit of leave off work now, I can jam in some quality gaming time. Next video will start with completion. I have a game in mind, I have a guide in mind to use for it as well, so it's probably going to be a lot of just following that. And can we do it? If we don't do it, we'll fall just short, but join me for the journey. So if you've enjoyed this video, hit a like, join me for the journey by hitting a sub as well. Feel free to comment below, ask as many questions as you want about any games I've played, past or present. I will do my best to answer those. You're better off leaving questions here, because if I'm on my Xbox, I'm generally busy playing a game or watching something while I'm eating. So please, all questions in the comments section below. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, I think that just leaves me to say, I'm going to thank you for watching again, but now it just leaves me to say thank you as always, and as always, take care.